This is a book called Insanity, My Mad Life by Charles Bronson. This is a very crazy book. I've never read anything quite like it. Yeah, it was written by Charles Bronson with Stephen Richards. I'm assuming that Charles probably wrote some notes and then Stephen put everything together. So this guy, Charles Bronson, he was or still is considered Britain's most dangerous prisoner. And he was originally called Michael Peterson at birth, but he changed his name to Charles Bronson because his bare-knuckle fighter promoter decided that he needed a tougher name. And Charles Bronson kind of suited him, I think. So this chapter right here, the first paragraph, really sums up the book. This is a book about madness, unbalanced minds, disturbances of the brain, unpredictable people, uncontrollable, dangerous and fearless, and so forth. This guy has lived it all when it comes to the prison system. You know, he was originally locked up for just a few years, I think, for robbery. But he has abused the system with numerous fights with prisoners, staff, and wardens, well, they call them governors in England. But he is basically legendary. He is infamous. And he said here that in the 1970s he was diagnosed as a psychopath. It makes sense. He's a very violent guy. Has no apologies for his behavior. He likes violence, and he says violence is a release, a pleasure. It's a form of being loved and wanted. Yeah. He likes to cause bedlam, and that's one of the things he loves to do. He was certified insane at one point. Now, that's interesting because, he comes across as a very sane person. Unlike the people he talks about in this book, I mean, there are some literally insane people in these prisons. They do crazy things with themselves and to others. Here's a funny one. A loon thought he was Frank Sinatra, and every time Frank came on TV or the radio, the loon would go mad. Imposter! He talks about various psychiatric disorders and conditions as well. He doesn't deny that he has done a lot of bad things in his past. He's left behind a trail of havoc, destruction, and violence that will never be forgotten, obviously. And if you saw the movie that was based on his life, you would understand, because he takes guards, prisoners. I mean, he is just a nut, really. He really, literally is crazy on some level. See, he's a poet as well. Psychopathic poet. Yeah, I put 3 bullets in his head, if that's what the coppers said. Yeah, I stabbed a man through the heart 25 times with a poison dart. Yeah, I've done it all. I've lived my life behind this wall. The girl I loved, she passed away. My blood ran cold that tragic day. Soul deep, I've tried to find red-hot coals inside my mind. Yep, sounds like something you'd write. Crazy little thing called insanity. Yeah, he talks about the fact that he got married I mean, women actually like this guy. You know, they like crazy badasses. Here he goes into a little more detail about the, some of the prisoners he mentioned earlier. And a guy swallowed a pen. I thought that was interesting. Like a whole pen. He just swallowed it. There are all kinds of different types in these prisons. The Yorkshire Ripper was there, Peter Sutcliffe. I've heard of him. He was attacked by other prisoners. Here's some more artwork by Charles. A second attack on the Ripper. Attack number 3 on the Ripper. And he says there are different types of insanity. There's sexual, psycho, depressive, schizoid, psychosis. And it can't be cured but with a bullet. But he says it can be tamed or controlled with love. And that's what he says right here. Love can control insanity, I guess. And he says he's put his brain up for auction because he believes he's a genius. Interesting. He says senility is a form of insanity, which makes sense, I suppose. Inward pain has a lot to do with insanity. And he talks about psychopath, the psychopath personality, those type. Mad as a hatter. He talks about other people in here, and, he doesn't like bullies. And things like that. Some of these chapters are okay. They're just not as interesting as the ones where he talks about himself, which I find more interesting. And he talks about people having pets, people falling in love with their pets in the prison. Calls cops screws behind the wall of hell. That was my phone. Let's see here. There's suicides. There are all types of people in the prisons. Here he is again. Insanity. Beyond reality. Let's see here. Let's get to something else. Let's say monsters and beasts. Another text. Wow, I am very popular. Another one. Some of these I just kind of. I read, but I kind of glossed over. Here he is. Charles Bronson, artist. Some of the slang I found interesting, like pull a bird, get a girl or a woman. Or a bird equals time. And then there's pour sod, nonce wing, whatever that means. I wrote down some of these. Let's see here. Dead men breathing. So he talks about how laughter breaks the despair, and that there are lots of dildos in the asylums. And one lunatic put a mouse up his butt. It's just the madness never ends. And he says the madness rubs off on the staff. He says, you learn and you become what you learn. And the staff become part of the insanity, which I suppose it makes sense, actually. He has talks about group therapy. He goes through everything. Oh, here's more art. I find his artwork intriguing. Let's see. Broadmoor, which is one of the many asylums he's been to. He talks about other people. He talks about things they do there. Well, medication time, games, lunch, and so forth. Let's see. You wake up in a pool of piss, sweat, and even blood. Yeah, interesting, right? He's in there with a lot of lunatics, murderers, he says. But here's more artwork. Asylums are crazy places with crazy rules. He likes to blame the rules for his insanity or his craziness. He even swallowed his own sperm. He loves rooftops, all sorts of things. But he loves madness. Just loves the craziness of it. He likes to cause trouble. And he likes to fight. He likes to draw, obviously. And then he talks about people, different ones. Beaten by a mob. There's just so much. He said that he robbed a banker before, but it turned out the banker only had a lunch in his briefcase. He didn't have money. But originally, this guy was put in prison for armed robbery, but he kept on fighting with the guards, fighting with the inmates, and his sentences just kept going up and up and up. And so he spent most of his adult life in prison. He's had a break, I think it was only for 1 year, and then he was right back in again because he would commit a crime. Some of these guys, they only function inside prisons. They don't really like being out. They just want to be inside. See, he blames the system for his behavior. He's a serial hostage taker. More art. Like I say, I'm intrigued by his art. I'm just kind of flying through this. I'm not going into a lot of detail. But I just want to give you an overview of the book. You could read it for yourself. Here's some of the facts at this time concerning prisons in the UK. If you're from the U.S., it doesn't really apply. I'm from the U.S., so no rehabilitation for Category A or AA, whatever that means. I guess it means a real crazy person. And let's see here, more artwork. I think this book gives you a pretty good idea of who this guy really is and what he's all about. I don't consider him literally insane, because if he was, he wouldn't know he's insane. But I do think he's wild and he's crazy. He loves attention. But other than that, I don't believe that he is crazy as some of the people he talks about in this book. I really don't. Let's see. Like I say here, Bronson is antagonistic towards prison authorities and wonders why they dislike him. Well, yeah. If you're beating people, staff, and other inmates, they're really not going to like you. So I suggest that you read this book if you want some craziness in your life, and watch the movie. The movie is crazy as well. Anyway, that's all I got. Talk to you later. Bye.